Imagine this. You wake up one morning, and everything you thought was stable in your life is gone. The job you counted on, gone. The person you trusted, gone. The plans you made, shattered. And in that moment, you feel pain pressing on your chest so heavy you can barely breathe. Most people's first instinct is to run from the pain, distract themselves, pretend it's not happening. But here's the truth. Running doesn't save you. It traps you. Pain has a way of following you. You can ignore it, numb it, cover it up, but it never disappears until you face it. And if you're willing to face it, if you're willing to sit in that uncomfortable place instead of sprinting away, you'll discover something powerful. Pain isn't here to destroy you. It's here to teach you. Think about it. Every breakthrough you've ever had in your life came after a moment of discomfort, of struggle, of hurt. That's not a coincidence. That's how growth works. Pain shows up not to punish you, but to prepare you. The problem is, most people never stay long enough to learn the lesson. So let me ask you this. Are you going to keep running from the very thing that could make you stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than you've ever been? Or are you ready to turn and face it? Because the moment you stop running, everything changes. Pain is one of those things most people spend their whole lives trying to avoid. We treat it like it's a curse, like it's an intruder in our lives that must be pushed out at all costs. But here's the reality most people don't want to hear. Pain is not your enemy. Pain is your teacher. And if you run from it, you miss the very lessons that could change the entire direction of your life. Think about the moments that have shaped you the most. Were they the easy ones? The times when everything went your way? When life was comfortable and smooth? Probably not. The truth is, the strongest, deepest, most unforgettable lessons you've ever learned didn't come wrapped in comfort. They came wrapped in struggle. They came wrapped in disappointment, in rejection, and heartbreak. Pain is life's way of forcing you to pay attention, to stop drifting, to look at yourself honestly, and to grow. When you were a child, you learned not to touch fire because of pain. You learned not to fall the same way twice because of pain. Every valuable survival instinct you carry into adulthood was taught to you by discomfort. Pain is the most powerful feedback system you'll ever have. Yet as adults, we convince ourselves that the goal of life is to avoid it at all costs. We numb it with distractions, bury it under busyness, or pretend it's not there. But in doing so, we cut ourselves off from growth. Because here's the thing. Every single time pain shows up, it has something to tell you. Something you can't learn from a textbook, from a lecture, or from comfort.
Maybe you've been betrayed by someone you trusted.
That hurts. But that pain is teaching you discernment. It's teaching you not to give access to people who don't deserve it. Maybe you failed at something you worked so hard for. That feels crushing. But that pain is teaching you persistence, teaching you that failure isn't the end. It's just data. It's showing you what doesn't work so you can find what does. Maybe you've lost someone you love. That grief feels unbearable. But in that pain, you learn about the depth of love, about the value of time, about the importance of presence. Here's the mistake we make. We treat pain as final. We think it means stop, but pain doesn't mean stop. Pain means pay attention. Pain means there's something here for you to see. And if you run, you miss it. That's why people repeat the same mistakes over and over again in life, because they refuse to stay with the pain long enough to learn what it's trying to teach them. They jump into the next relationship without healing, and they repeat the same heartbreak. They jump into the next job without reflecting, and they repeat the same failures. They numb themselves with temporary escapes, alcohol, distractions, entertainment, just so they don't have to feel it. But what happens? The pain is still there waiting. It hasn't gone anywhere. If you shift your perspective, you'll see that pain is not against you. It's for you. It's not blocking you. It's building you. Every time you let yourself feel it instead of fleeing from it, you gain wisdom you couldn't have gained otherwise, wisdom that cannot be taught, only earned. Pain teaches patience. Pain teaches empathy. Pain teaches strength. It strips you down to your core. It takes away your illusions. It shows you what you're really made of. And when you come through it, you are different. You are sharper. You are wiser. You are unshakable in ways you weren't before. It's like training a muscle. When you go to the gym, resistance is the very thing that makes your body stronger. Without resistance, without pressure, without strain, your muscles don't grow. They stay weak. The soreness you feel after a workout is a sign that your body is adapting, growing, becoming better. Pain in life works the same way. The struggle is the resistance. The heartbreak is the soreness. The challenge is the weight. You may not enjoy it in the moment, but it's shaping you into something stronger. So the people who achieve greatness in life are not those who never felt pain. They are the ones who learned from it. Look at anyone who has overcome impossible odds, anyone who has turned their life around, anyone who has achieved something extraordinary. Behind every story of success is a story of pain. But instead of running from it, they leaned into it. They asked, what is this trying to teach me? How can I use this to grow? That's what separates people who rise from people who stay stuck. And here's the powerful part. Once you learn to see pain as a teacher, you stop fearing it. You stop wasting your life trying to outrun it. You stop living small because you're afraid of being hurt. Instead, you start living with courage. You start stepping into challenges, knowing that even if it hurts, the lesson will be worth it. You start taking risks because you understand that even if you fall, you'll get up stronger. You stop avoiding hard conversations because you know the discomfort will lead to clarity. You stop fearing failure because you understand failure is just pain with a lesson attached. The next time pain shows up in your life, and it will, pause before you run. Sit with it. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Don't rush past it. Don't bury it. Don't hide from it, because hidden inside that pain is a gift that could change the way you see yourself, the way you live your life, the way you handle everything that comes after. Pain is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. And if you learn to stop running and start listening, you'll realize that pain has been on your side all along, shaping you into the person you were always meant to become. When something hurts us, the first instinct is almost always the same: escape. We don't want to feel it. We don't want to face it. We want to push it aside, bury it deep, distract ourselves with work, entertainment, food, relationships, or anything that keeps us from sitting with the discomfort. It feels easier in the moment to run. But here's the hard truth. Avoidance doesn't heal pain. It multiplies it. When you avoid what hurts, you're not protecting yourself. You're sentencing yourself to suffer longer and deeper. Think about a physical wound. If you ignore it, cover it up, pretend it's not there, it doesn't magically heal. It gets worse. Infection sets in. Something that could have been treated easily becomes dangerous because it was neglected. Emotional pain works exactly the same way. If you don't face it, it festers. It leaks into every part of your life. You may think you've buried it, but it shows up in your relationships, your decisions, your self-image. It shapes how you trust people, how you see opportunities, how you handle challenges. Avoidance doesn't protect you. It keeps you chained to the very thing you're running from. People who avoid pain often end up living the same cycles over and over. They get hurt in one relationship, never reflect, never heal, and then find themselves in the same type of toxic relationship again. They fail at a project, never analyze what went wrong, and then fail again in the exact same way. They experience loss, but instead of grieving and learning how to move forward, they numb themselves, and years later they still feel stuck, as if time stopped the moment the pain arrived. That's what avoidance does. It freezes you, it traps you in a moment of suffering, and forces you to relive it again and again. The irony is that what we resist the most is often what we need to face the most. Avoidance is fueled by fear. The fear that if we look pain in the eye, it will crush us. The fear that if we acknowledge the truth, we won't survive it. But the reality is the opposite. It's not facing pain that breaks us. It's running from it. Because every time you run, the pain chases you. Every time you numb yourself, the moment the distraction wears off, the hurt is still there, untouched, unresolved, demanding to be dealt with. Avoidance also steals time. You may think you're buying yourself relief, but really you're extending your suffering. A heartbreak you could heal from in months drags out for years. A mistake you could learn from quickly follows you into every new chapter of your life. A truth you could face once torments you daily because you refuse to confront it. Running doesn't make pain go away. It makes it permanent. And here's the worst part. Avoidance shrinks your life. When you build your choices around not getting hurt, you stop living fully. You say no to opportunities, not because they're wrong for you, but because you're afraid they might come with rejection or failure. You avoid relationships, not because you don't want love, but because you're afraid of heartbreak. You avoid risks, not because you lack potential, but because you don't want the sting of falling short. In protecting yourself from pain, you end up protecting yourself from growth, from joy, from everything that makes life meaningful. But think about the people you know who seem stuck in the same story year after year. Chances are, they're not stuck because they lack talent or intelligence. They're stuck because they refuse to face their pain. They've avoided the hard conversations, the tough decisions, the uncomfortable truths, and the cost is enormous. They live small, they live afraid, they live half lives, ruled by the very thing they're running from. But when you face pain, instead of avoiding it, something shifts. Yes, it hurts, sometimes more intensely at first, but then slowly it starts to lose its grip on you. The moment you stop running, the chase ends. The monster in your head shrinks when you shine a light on it. What seemed unbearable becomes manageable. What seemed endless begins to fade. Facing pain may hurt for a season, but avoiding it guarantees a lifetime of suffering. There's another danger in avoidance. It blinds you to the lessons hidden in pain. Every painful experience has wisdom inside it, but you only access it when you're willing to look at it directly. Avoidance robs you of that gift. You go through the hurt but come out empty-handed, with nothing gained. You pay the price of pain but miss the reward of growth. And so life repeats the lesson, often with greater intensity, until you finally face it. That's why people say life keeps giving you the same test until you learn from it. It's not punishment, it's opportunity disguised as discomfort. Avoidance may feel safe in the moment, but it's an illusion. It's like trying to hold a beach ball underwater. You can keep it down for a while, but eventually it shoots back up, often with more force than before. That's what happens when you suppress pain. It doesn't disappear, it rebounds, sometimes in ways you least expect. Anger at the wrong people, fear in moments that should excite you, self-sabotage when you're close to success. The pain you avoid today becomes the weight you carry tomorrow. So ask yourself how much of your life is being dictated by what you're running from. What opportunities have you turned down? What relationships have you pushed away? What dreams have you abandoned? Not because you didn't want them, but because you didn't want to face the pain that might come with them. And more importantly, how long are you willing to keep carrying something that could have been healed if you had just stopped running? The truth is, facing pain is hard, but it's also freeing. Avoiding it feels easier, but it's a trap. Pain confronted is pain that eventually heals. Pain avoided is pain that never leaves. And if you want to live fully, if you want to grow into your best self, you have to stop running. You have to stand still, turn around, and face what you fear most. Because the only way out is through. And the longer you avoid it, the longer you prolong the suffering that could have already been behind you. Strength is not something you are simply born with. It's not a gift handed out to a lucky few. Strength is forged, and the forge is pain. Every ounce of mental toughness, every layer of emotional resilience, every part of you that can withstand life's storms, it is built through the very struggles you once wished would go away. Pain is the training ground where strength is developed. Without it, you remain fragile, easily broken, dependent on comfort to survive. With it, you become someone who can face life head-on, no matter what it throws at you. Think of it this way, just like your body needs resistance to grow stronger, your mind and heart need struggle to become resilient. If you never lifted weight, your muscles would stay weak. If you never stretched your limits, you'd never discover how powerful you could be. Pain is that resistance for the soul. It's uncomfortable, it burns, it feels unbearable at times, but it is shaping you into someone who can carry more, endure more, and rise higher. Look back at the times in your life when you surprised yourself, when you handled something you thought would break you, when you pushed through something you thought you couldn't survive. Didn't you walk away stronger? Didn't you realize there was more inside you than you thought? That strength didn't appear out of nowhere. It came because pain demanded you rise to the occasion. Pain forced you to dig deeper, to pull out parts of yourself you never had to use before. That's how growth works. Mental and emotional strength are not developed in comfort. They are developed in the moments you feel like giving up, but you keep going. They're built when you face rejection and decide it won't define you. They're built when you fail and get back up anyway. They're built when you lose someone, when your heart breaks, when life knocks you flat. And somehow, even through the tears you choose to stand, every one of those moments hurts. But every one of them is also proof that pain is building something powerful inside you. Most people misunderstand strength. They think it means not feeling pain at all, like being tough means being numb. But true strength is not about avoiding emotions or pretending you don't hurt. True strength is about feeling the full weight of pain, acknowledging it, even letting it break you down, and then choosing to rise anyway. It's not about pretending storms don't exist. It's about learning to stand in the rain until the sun comes back. When you allow yourself to face pain instead of running from it, you begin to develop a kind of toughness that cannot be faked. You stop being easily rattled by the small things because you've survived the big ones. You stop panicking at discomfort because you've learned that discomfort is temporary, but the strength it leaves behind is permanent. Life will always test you, that's guaranteed. But when you've been through pain and used it to grow, you don't break as easily. You bend, you adapt, you endure. Think about how this shows up in everyday life. Someone criticizes you, and instead of crumbling, you see it as feedback. You can use why. Because you faced harsher words before and survived. Someone rejects you, and instead of questioning your worth, you understand that rejection is just redirection. Why? Because you felt deeper losses and kept moving forward. A challenge comes your way, and instead of hiding, you rise to meet it. Why? Because you've already faced moments that looked impossible, and you made it through. That's the gift of strength built through pain. It changes how you show up in every moment of your life. And here's something people often miss. The strength you build through your own pain doesn't just serve you. It serves everyone around you. When you've walked through fire, you can guide others through theirs. When you've endured heartbreak, you can comfort someone else with empathy that only comes from lived experience. When you've faced your demons and won, you inspire others to believe they can do the same. Your strength becomes a source of light for others who are still stumbling in the dark. But you only gain that strength if you stop running. Avoid pain, and you avoid the very process that transforms you. Embrace it. And you gain something no one can take away. You become unshakable. You stop living in fear of what might hurt you. Because you know you can survive it, you stop being controlled by the unknown. Because you've already learned that whatever comes, you will figure it out. That kind of confidence doesn't come from comfort. It comes from having been broken and rebuilt stronger. Life is going to test you. That's not a maybe, that's a guarantee. You will face losses. You will face failures. You will face moments where you feel like you can't go on. But those moments are not the end. They are the beginning of the version of you who is stronger than you've ever been before. Every tear, every setback, every disappointment is laying down the bricks of your resilience. Every time you choose to get back up, you're building the foundation of a life that can withstand anything. So, the next time pain enters your life, remind yourself, this is not here to destroy me. This is here to build me. This is my training ground. This is resistance. And if I push through it, I will come out stronger on the other side. Don't waste your suffering. Don't waste your tears. Let them shape you. Let them toughen you. Let them transform you. Because strength is not given, it is earned. And pain is the price. There are only two directions pain can take you. It can break you, or it can build you. It can drain your energy and leave you bitter. Or it can fuel you and make you unstoppable. The choice is yours. Turning pain into power is not something that happens by accident. It is a deliberate decision to take the hardest moments of your life and convert them into the very energy that drives you forward. Every great transformation begins at the intersection of hurt and choice. What you do with your pain determines who you become. When life knocks you down, you don't just get up for the sake of standing again. You get up different. You get up sharper. You get up wiser. You get up stronger. But only if you decide not to waste the pain. Too many people let pain define them in the wrong way. They carry the betrayal, the failure, the heartbreak like a permanent scar that dictates what they believe they can or cannot do. They replay the hurt over and over until it becomes their story. And here's the problem. If you keep telling yourself that story, you stay trapped in it. Pain becomes your prison instead of your fuel. But it doesn't have to be that way. Pain can become your reason. The thing that once tried to stop you can become the thing that propels you. Think about people who grew up with nothing. People who were told they'd never make it. People who faced unimaginable setbacks. Many of them didn't just survive. They excelled. They didn't just overcome their pain. They turned it into fire. That rejection became their drive to succeed. That failure became their lesson plan for success. That heartbreak became the reminder of their own worth and the power to build a life that no one else could break. Turning pain into power begins with asking the right question. What can I do with this? Instead of why me, you ask, what now? Instead of saying, this destroyed me, you say, this will shape me. Pain doesn't automatically make you stronger. You have to decide to use it. You have to decide to mine the lesson, to harness the energy, to take the very thing that tried to knock you down and make it the reason you rise. Look at how this works in real life. Failure is painful. No one enjoys giving their all to something and falling short. But if you take that pain and analyze it, you walk away with wisdom you couldn't have gained otherwise. You discover what didn't work, what you need to change, what strategies will be more effective next time. The pain of failing becomes the blueprint for winning. That's how innovators, entrepreneurs, and creators build things the world has never seen. They let the pain of what went wrong sharpen their vision for what could go right. Heartbreak is painful. Losing someone you love feels unbearable. But if you turn that pain into power, you begin to realize your own strength. You learn that you can survive even without what you thought you couldn't live without. You learn that your value doesn't diminish because someone walked away. You learn to set boundaries, to raise your standards, to never again settle for less than you deserve. The pain of heartbreak becomes the power of self-respect. Rejection is painful. Being told no cuts deep. But rejection, if you use it, becomes redirection. It pushes you to places you would have never gone otherwise. It teaches you to persevere, to knock on more doors, to sharpen your craft until no one can ignore you. The pain of being denied can become the power of resilience, the hunger that drives you further than comfort ever could. Even grief, one of the deepest forms of pain, can be turned into power. Many people who have lost loved ones go on to live lives of greater purpose because they carry the memory of that person with them. The pain becomes a daily reminder that life is precious, that time is short, and that wasting your days is not an option. Their grief transforms into motivation, into urgency, into love poured into others. The question isn't whether you will feel pain in life. You will. The question is what you will do with it. Will you let it drain you, or will you let it drive you? Will you stay stuck in the story of your suffering, or will you rewrite it into a story of strength? Pain can either be an anchor or a set of wings. It can hold you down, or it can help you rise. The difference lies in your perspective. If you see pain only as unfair, only as something that happened to you, you remain a victim. But if you see pain as something happening for you, as raw material you can mold into fuel, you step into power. You stop waiting for life to be easy and start using the hard parts to your advantage. And here's the thing, the world respects power born from pain. People who have walked through fire and turned their scars into strength inspire others because they prove what's possible. They show that pain doesn't have to end your story. It can launch it. They become leaders, creators, change makers, not because life was easy, but because they refused to waste their suffering. Every single one of us has the capacity to do this. You don't need a perfect life to rise. You need a painful one and the courage to turn it into something greater. So when pain comes knocking, don't just survive it. Don't just endure it. Use it. Channel it. Let it sharpen your vision, fuel your determination, deepen your wisdom. Let it be the very reason you fight harder, love deeper, dream bigger. Because here's the truth, some of your greatest victories will come directly out of your greatest pain. The hurt you feel today can become the strength you lean on tomorrow. The tears you cry now can water the foundation of a future you never thought possible. Don't waste your pain. Don't let it break you when it was meant to build you. Decide right now that you will turn every ounce of it into power. And when you do, you won't just rise, you'll rise stronger than you ever imagined. No pain lasts forever. In the moment, it feels permanent. It feels like it's going to swallow you whole and never let you go. But the truth is, every wound heals, every heartbreak softens, every storm eventually passes. Pain has an expiration date. Growth does not. The wisdom you gain from struggle, the strength you develop from hardship, the perspective you earn from suffering, those stay with you for life. Pain fades, but the growth you choose to take from it becomes a permanent part of who you are. Think about the times in your past when you were hurting so deeply you couldn't imagine a future without that pain. Maybe it was a breakup, maybe it was a failure, maybe it was a loss that shattered you. At the time, it felt endless. But here you are now. Looking back, the pain itself is not as sharp anymore. But what did remain? The lessons, the resilience, the ability to handle life differently than you did before. That's the proof that pain is temporary, but growth is permanent. This is why running from pain is such a tragedy. People forget that the hurt they're trying to escape will fade with time. Anyway, but if they avoid it, if they refuse to face it, they miss the growth that could have lasted forever. You can't stop pain from arriving, but you can stop yourself from wasting it. If you lean into it, you come out wiser, stronger, more capable. If you run from it, all you do is delay healing while gaining nothing in return. Life is full of temporary storms. They come, they rage, they terrify, but they don't stay. The mistake is thinking that because you're in the middle of the storm, the sun will never return. That illusion keeps people paralyzed, afraid to move forward, convinced that the pain defines their future. But storms don't define the sky, they only pass through it. And pain doesn't define you. It only passes through your life long enough to deliver a lesson. It's the growth you take from it that becomes a permanent part of your character. Take failure as an example. The sting of failing eventually fades. You don't carry the pain of every mistake you've ever made for the rest of your life. What you do carry, if you allow yourself to learn, is the insight. You remember what not to do next time. You remember the strategies that didn't work. You remember the feeling of pushing through and surviving it. That growth doesn't vanish, it compounds. Every failure hurts less because you've grown wiser from the ones before. The pain disappears, but the growth stacks up. The same is true with heartbreak, the ache of losing someone, of being rejected, of having your heart broken. It feels eternal in the moment. But over time, the sharpness fades. What remains is the clarity it gave you about your worth, the strength it gave you to stand on your own, the understanding of what you will and will not accept in your life moving forward. That wisdom never leaves you. Pain is temporary, but the higher standards, the deeper self-respect, the ability to love with awareness, that's permanent growth. Even grief, one of the deepest forms of pain, evolves. The loss never completely disappears. But the raw pain transforms. Over time, the memories bring more warmth than sorrow. The grief teaches you the preciousness of life, the urgency of time, the value of people, and those lessons shape the way you live every day afterward. The pain softens, but the growth remains sharp forever. When you understand that pain is temporary, you stop being afraid of it. You stop letting the fear of being hurt control your choices. You take risks, you pursue opportunities, you open yourself to love, you chase big dreams, not because you expect them to work out, but because you know that even if they don't, the pain won't last. But the growth you'll gain will. That perspective frees you. It makes you bold. It gives you permission to step into the unknown without fear of what might go wrong. It's the same principle athletes live by. They push their bodies through intense training, enduring soreness, exhaustion, even injury. Why? Because they know the pain is temporary. They know their muscles will recover, their bodies will heal, but the strength, the endurance, the skill they build, that will last. The pain is just the process. The growth is the result. And life works the exact same way. The difference between people who stay small and those who rise is this: the first group sees pain as something to be avoided, while the second group sees pain as a price worth paying for permanent growth. If you want to evolve, you have to accept that there will be moments of discomfort, seasons of struggle, nights of doubt, but those moments don't last forever. What does last is the new version of yourself that comes out on the other side. So, when pain shows up in your life, remind yourself, this will not last forever. The sleepless nights will end. The tears will dry. The heaviness in your chest will lighten. But what you take from this moment, the lessons, the strength, the resilience that will last for the rest of your life, that's why you can't waste your suffering. That's why you have to lean into it instead of hiding from it. Because every temporary pain is an opportunity for permanent growth. And one day, you'll look back and realize that the very things you thought would break you became the things that built you. The scars that once made you self-conscious will become reminders of your survival. The failures that once embarrassed you will become proof of your persistence. The heartbreaks that once left you in pieces will become the reason you know how to love with wisdom. The pain will fade, the growth will stay. So the next time you're in the middle of a struggle, don't just ask, when will this end? Ask instead, what will I gain from this when it does? That shift in perspective is what turns temporary suffering into permanent strength. Pain doesn't last, but the person you become because of it, that's forever. And that's worth every tear, every failure, every disappointment, because growth is the only permanent gift pain has to offer, and it's the one thing no one can ever take away from you. Life will test you. It will break you down, it will put you on your knees, and it will make you question if you can keep going. But remember this, pain is never your enemy. Pain is your teacher, your refiner, your guide. Avoiding it only creates more suffering, but facing it builds strength. Pain can either imprison you or empower you. It depends on what you choose to do with it. Every tear, every disappointment, every heartbreak is temporary. It will pass. But the growth you choose to extract from it will remain forever. Pain is not here to destroy you. It is here to shape you into someone stronger, wiser, more resilient than you were yesterday. So when life hurts, and it will, don't run. Don't numb yourself. Don't give up. Instead, lean in. Listen to what the pain is trying to teach you. Let it build your character. Let it sharpen your mind. Let it deepen your soul. Because one day, you'll look back and realize the pain that once felt unbearable was the very thing that unlocked your power. And that is the truth you must carry with you. Pain is temporary, but growth is permanent. Use it, rise from it, and become unstoppable.